Hello and welcome to Geekatplay Studio Tutorials. In this tutorials we'll look on a Filter Forge editor, components, and in a processing set. These components use it very widely when you start working with modifying images or just combining this. Blend is one of the most used kind of component that will allow you to combine different effects and different type of blending together. So as example, let's go ahead and we'll create a gradient. We'll go to external and we'll add image. Okay, next we'll go inside the processing and we'll take a blend. The difference between blend and blend HDR that blend HDR will accept HDRI input and will output HDRI as well, and a normal blend won't. So in some cases they will work exactly same. It just different will be only between what type of images can accept and pass through. So in a blend we have it very similar. We have it mapped input for the foreground background, and we also have it mapped input for the opacity type. So example, we can have it gradient input, we have it background output, and you can see just simple overlay with a 50% over each image. By moving opacity, we can specify if we want all the way 100% on a background and 0 on a foreground, or opposite way. As well, the opacity can be controlled by different type image mapped input. So for example, we can use it as a Perlin noise. Okay, let me pop up contrast so we can have a better view, and you can see right here it will control it in a way image will blend together. The one very important things in a blend, it is different type of mode of blending. And if you work with Photoshop or other application and look before, you kind of be familiar and look on all this different type. Again, by default it's used normal. You can use a darkener, overlay, soft light, and you can see how this overlay will applied and mixed together. So again, a blend, it's kind of look on this as a combiner, take different two sources, combine them together, and you can control in a way they combine and opacity of the how they're combining as well. Okay, so we'll go back to processing. Again, blend is normal and DRI is the same way as a normal blend. Next, we'll have the blur. The blur will expect the input of the source, and let's input the image. So as output, it will use it algorithm, and by default they're using Gaussian algorithm, and will blend. So it's take average from the point, and we'll start blurring in a radius you specify around the images. So it's averaging, and it will blur. So you can specify from 0 no blurring up to 100% all the way blur. This filter will be quite a bit used if you're using an photo processing and you want to remove maybe some sharpness, or you want to create smoother skin. So you probably blur will be one of the quite a bit used filter for that. Okay, next we have high pass. A high pass component and remove low frequency feature from the image, preserving the high frequency details. So let's, as example, we connect, and you can see right here we have it high details, and we removed all this low details. So we have this gradient on background, it's removed, but however we have this high details right here, and we preserve those details right at this moment. Okay, this is very the filter is kind of nice when you start working with add maybe outline to the image. And to do this we can go ahead, for example, just do very fast, we'll take a contrast, or actually threshold in this case. So let's go ahead, set threshold, we're going to have it source at this point, and we can set threshold for our image. And you can see how we already start creating very rough outline on a higher details, and ignoring background. Like right here you can see we have a gradient a little bit going on background, okay, because we removed on this pass, and we removed those right on this image. So we have a very nice sharp outline going for our image. So in this case, you can use it for some effect, maybe creating like sketch type image or other things. So in the high pass, we'll have, okay, let's look on a high pass. So what do we have here? We have the source, of course, it's well expected. We have a contrast, so we can increase overall contrast of the image. However, increase contrast of the image, you can notice it's add additional some details right here. So it is good balance between contrast or not. We also have it radius, and let's take the averaging around the pixels. Currently it's at 10. The lower we have it, the fine, more defined details will be, but it's also will ignore some. But you can see how much more details we have now when we set to 3, and if we set to 1, let's go set 1 on this, we have it even more defined details at this point. But sometimes the details can be overwhelmed or you want to cut them off. So on this point, you maybe want to even go way higher and have this kind of different look. You can also create different multiple passes, separate them, combine. Okay, let's do this way. So as example, we'll go right here, we'll set to 1. Okay, let's create another threshold right here. We'll going to our processing, take a blend, similar to we said before, combine, and as a result, you can see you can have it some image with a higher and low details applied to this. So it's give you quite a bit creativity and flexibility when you start creating this way. Okay, so this is high pass. Okay, let's look one more, and of course we have another check options if it will be monochrome creating or will preserve and won't convert output image to the grayscale. So just desaturated. It. And in some cases, you also can use it as simulating maybe some from normal image to HDRI type of the image. Okay, this is high pass. Next, we have it option. It's a maximum. The maximum component is replace every pixel of the source image with the brightest color in the surrounding pixels as certain radius. That is, we can actually apply right here. So you can see right at this point, it's a take radius of the 10, find the brightest pixels, and replacing surround pixels with this. So in this case, if we increase to 27, so you can see 27 pixels, it's take and start replacing. Okay, or if we're going to like maybe about 1 pixel, you can see it's created pixelization, but again, it will take the brightest color and replace in surrounding around this area. Okay, we have it also option to enable anti-aliasing, which take the surrounding, okay, at this point, and you can see it's apply anti-aliasing to the edges of the surroundings. Again, this is effect actually combine this effect maximum with some blur effect. You can create a very good bokeh effect for your photos for the backgrounds. Okay, next we have it median. Okay, and median, it is a kind of similar to what we have at a maximum, median, or minimum, except that on a medium, it's a take median color of the surrounding pixels and the range they specify. So instead, take highlights, take a medium color, and kind of apply similar effect. So you can see this way. We also have it options anti-aliasing, and we also have it option for the high precision. And when it's turned on, it's make median use it over 65,000 histogram level instead 256. So it's way more precision than this, and it's achieve a great accuracy and reducing the quantity size effect. So you don't see all those kind of levels going over here. But it will take just slightly longer time to render. Mostly you won't notice, but just let you know. Again, this high precision will increase, and if you have it multiple of them, overall they do increase some time when your filter is processed. Okay, so this is median, and we have it a minimum. The minimum will take lowest value, and same things, it will replace it. So if you remember, just better if we compare maybe like this. Okay, one is take lightest, highest point, one take the lowest, and median obviously we'll take median and we'll replace it. Okay, but it's same things, we can specify the radius for this. Okay, anti-aliasing, and we can apply it. So this is our processing, maximum, minimum, median. We also, next we have it motion blur. Motion blur, it will expect the source in. We also have it a radius, similar like we have it on blur, but we can add directional shifting. So, and right here you can see we can specify how much in directional it will apply. We also can change the angle in which motion blur will apply it. As well, we have options to enable or disable the Gaussian control input that will define the blur algorithm. And of course, when it's turned on as a Gaussian, it's a Gaussian blur perform. It's slower, but it's create much smoother effect on directional no strikes. And when it's disabled, it will apply simple blur, and you will have it a less kind of quality effect. So you will have a little bit more strikes right here. You can see instead smoother effect. Again, but the Gaussian will take a little bit longer time to render. Next, we have it multi-blend, and the multi-blend is very similar to the blend what we have it before. Only with exception, you notice in a normal blend we have it foreground and background, and we have it opacity. However, in multi-blend, as you expect, we have it up to 7 different layers, and we have it opacity set differently. This is all will accept a map input, just the layers, except opacity will accept also HDRI, and it will produce HDRI on the end. And by the default, the first layer set 100, and rest they will set with a decreasing amount down, so it kind of mix together. And when you start blending, this is kind of to remember. So let's go ahead, set opacity and layers. That if you used only 2, you need kind of go ahead and remove opacity, so it will produce correct blending between those. But of course, if you add additional layer, you can need go inside and increase opacity on that one as well. Okay, so this is multi-blend. One thing you will notice on a multi-blend, you do not have it options to set type of the blending between different layers. How same in a blend example, you have right here different type of the modes. This modes does not exist in a multi-blend. So if you want to use them, you use multiple blends and combine them in a tree structure. Okay, we have it noise distribution. Noise distribution, it's will component that produce a natural looking distortion effect based on 2 parallel noise, one for each coordinate. So when you're creating, and it's actually using some offset. So let's go ahead and connect as example our source that expected. You can see right here we have it. We applied all this noise applying to our and distortion. You have it options how much distortions you want applied to your image. Okay, you also have it options to roughness, which define roughness of the noise and distortion based on algorithms that provided. And you can see right here we have it a little bit more details and something. If you think about the fractal way, think about this is all fractal and as subfractal trees. When you apply it roughness, it's applied this all small distortions to the general. So you have it global and you have it kind of more detailed small distortion as well. Okay, we also have options for the control input, which is represented by scale, and this overall scale of the distortion. So if you take Perlin noise, it's a scale of this our Perlin noise. And we can just readjust. Okay, we also have an option to the stretch, and the stretch is defined how directionally noise is distributed and when it's based on. So we can go ahead and set maybe stretch this way as well. We have an angle for our distortion, so we can rotate around. We have an amount of details can be produced. The 100% will, when it's rendered, will produce the most accurate details when it starts distorting your image. However, it's take the longest, and a 0 will produce the less details, less accurate, but it's take fastest. And of course, we have it our random seed variation that will be changed for our Perlin noise that using as a base for our distortion. Okay, and I like to use it, this noise distortion, when I creating kind of like spiral brushes or other effect I want to apply to the image. This is kind of very nice to increase your distortion, maybe decrease a little bit roughness or whatever, and using as part of the brush path if you want to create. Okay, so let's go ahead, and next is a Freestyle. So the Freestyle components is a generalization of the maximum, medium, and minimum components. Right here, what we're using before, it could do everything of those components and more. In some cases, when you start using distortion in the brush, you probably want to go to the style on this that will kind of make smoother and better on this case. So, okay, let's go. Increasing right at this point, and it's producing a little bit different effect than blurring. And in some cases, you can kind of look, see. Okay, let's go as example right here. We have a blur effect applied, and let's decrease this. So in some cases, you can see we have it blurring and we have it pre-style. And because pre-style using the max median, it's actually provide a little bit more details in the highlights and everything than just a blur. And also it's have more options that you can control in a way of the highlights will kind of blend with the shadows or other things. So think about some ways it is higher details than blur filter. We also have it options to radius. Obviously, we have it anti-aliasing, and we have it options for the high precision that will use better calculations, but as before, it's take a little bit longer time to process. Okay, and next we have it type of refraction. Refraction will require two inputs that can be HDRI source, and it's also require the height. So let's go take a Perlin noise at this point. The refraction components, it's imitate the optical phenomenon when the ray of the light changing direction that pass through the boundaries between different materials with a different reflective index. So at this point, you can see we set the height for our materials. And when light's coming, it's change of this reflective. So if we're going inside the Perlin and reduce contrast and roughness, so it's make much smoother. So right here will process a little bit better. If you want to make like water distortion maybe, or if you want to make plastic or glass distortion, refraction filter, it's one of the use for that specific purpose. So you can go inside and modify it. However, refraction is set to 60, and you can obviously change and modify it. However, this is a refraction is mapped from 0 to 100, so it's not truly representing. For example, if you're using glass refractions, will be 1.33 default refraction, but however when you work with this slider, it will be a little bit different adjustment because it's going from 0 to 100. But you can calculate by take 100% and multiply by 1 minus IQR1 or IQR2, so you can simulate or come with a mapping mode. In one cases, what I recommend you to do if you want more accurate is just using control. using your sliders or other controls and map it directly with a function. So in this case, just change the refraction from 1,0 to the more accurate refraction index that is applied. In this case, you can be very accurate. But again, this is filter that you probably want to use when you simulated glass, water, or any other options that may be light passing and change its refraction index. Okay, so let's go next. And next we have it our sharpener filter. Sharpener filter will accept HDRI or normal source input. So currently we have it just normal connect. And notice right here between original and other ones, it does apply sharpener effect to our image. And the components it actually will take the edges and of source image and enhance it so it will look a little bit more sharpener between them. This is a component will increase render time. So we have it our source. We also have it amount of the sharpness can be applied. And one thing when you go to the maximum, you'll notice because how it start calculating, we have a distortion on the colors. That is also we have an option preserve colors will help us to preserve those by decreasing some of the saturations. So in this case, we kind of preserve colors, so it won't be a look that. As well, we have it a radius, and let's take a radius when calculate against the pixels of the sharpness on the edge. And as by default set 20. And many times when you work as default on Photoshop example, I like to set to the 2 pixels, but depend on resolution. Again, by increasing higher quality, you can simulate it some HDRI type tone mapped images. So let's go ahead, and it's up to what you like set, but you can notice right here we have it normal image input, and right here we have it input with the sharpener applied to this. Okay, and a last one component from our processing, it's called switch. Switch is very interesting component because it's using as a selector. If output one of the source inputs, they depend on a value, it will switch between them. So we have it right here, source, and we have it up to 12 different sources, and you notice they can accept HDRI and they can output HDRI as well. So let's go ahead and take connect it to source 1. Okay. Also we have it right here selector, and you can see this selector, it will switch between those sources. So we have a different source right here, and we have it controlled selector. We can control from different type input and change this one from different type of gradients. And this is very helpful when you start creating a filter in which one you want kind of more dramatically select different type effect that's maybe applied. So you can provide this selector for your for the users. On this case, they can switch between different type of the effects. On some cases, let me disconnect this. I'm just showing you very fast as an example on that. We'll go to noises, and let's select, we have it one noise. Okay, we have a cell noise, shaft noise, Perlin noise. So you can see right here we can just create different type of noise that on a selector. Next, what we're going to do, let's go to pattern. Okay, we'll take our bomber, we take this one and connect to the roughness as example. Okay, and as right here, for example, if we have one type of the roughness, but if you want for the user, just go ahead and modify it without going and all these effects changing. We can go inside switch, and it can provide just this, and you can notice that will apply it to the different type of the chaos parent just by only switching between different types. So you can monitor right here how they're changing different based on the cows. This is very primitive and very not precise precision how you look, but it's give you idea that with the switch you can apply it. As well, the switch may control it by different type of the input, maybe by the image and calculating median on a color, so it can switch different type effect. So overall, um, I don't think you will use a switch very much, but it as a control, it's kind of very powerful in this way. Okay, so it doesn't have a blend, it's have it or this, so it's just simple or switch. Okay, so right here we'll look on some processings, and our next we'll go ahead and look on some RGB math that can be a little bit boring, but with combination properly we actually can quite a bit use it, and we'll just overlook very fast on this, and we'll work with them when we start work on real projects.